Well, another disappointment by the Miami Hurricanes. If you're a fan of the Canes, you've probably gotten used to this over the last 15 years or so. Um, we've had times where they've kind of fooled us and started off very good, only to disappoint us in the end, like they've done the last couple years. So, all this talk in the off season, the new Miami, we're going to be more conditioned. We're going to be a better team. We're going to have a better, more uh, unpredictable offense. When it came right down to it yesterday, it looked like a good part of the game was the same old Miami. The Miami that shoots itself in the foot. The Miami that makes stupid penalties. Play calling suspect. And in the end, the results that matter, win or lose. And we ended up losing a game that really they should have won. And I'm talking winning the game even if they still surrendered 10 sacks. Yes, 10 sacks in the first game. It is amazing to me that Jaron Williams didn't turn the ball over. That's the only positive I've seen, because if this was last year's quarterback group, Florida would have probably had 4 or 5 turnovers. He dropped the ball a couple times, but Miami managed to get it back. But I'm surprised he just didn't sail the ball up there to get rid of it, like we seen last year. It's amazing that the kid was able to walk off the field after the beating he took. And I feel like this. The offensive line, yes, we had 3 guys who had never played a snap. That we knew was going to be trouble. And here's the thing is, the whole coaching staff knew the biggest weakness of this team would be the offensive line. And what happens? You think the offensive play caller, Dan Enos, would devise a plan to get rid of the ball quick. I personally would have stayed out of the shotgun, because the shotgun, if you think about it, takes longer to develop. The ball has to be snapped back to you, several yards away from the center, and then you can look downfield and start looking, because you certainly can't have your eyes trained downfield and catch the ball from a snap 5 or 6 yards away. So, to me, I would have put Williams under center, did some quick 2-step drops, shallow crossing patterns, slants, quick outs, bubble screens, stuff like that. It just didn't make any sense to me dropping him back, particularly when you've seen early on in the game that his left side was going to be a trouble spot for him all night. Florida could have walked up to them and told them what they were doing, and Miami could not have stopped it unless they changed the game plan, in which they should have done in the second half, which they didn't. Kirk Herbstreit was asked, how can Miami help Williams out? He rattled off like 4 things in 10 seconds. Of course, none of which Miami did. One of those is the most basic thing. Seeing he was getting most of the pressure from the left and some up the middle, but the majority of the pressure was coming from his left side, roll him to the right. In fact, I think you could have took advantage of them pretty much telegraphing that they were going to sack you. They were sneaking guys up to the line of scrimmage, linebackers, safeties, cornerbacks, whatever, along with their end rusher. And what you could have done is put a couple backs in the backfield, or even one, had the back chip off the pass rusher to make it look like he's blocking, and send him out, throw the ball back across. There would have been a wide open spot right there, because Florida was so committed to blitzing. Miami should have been able to take advantage of that. Enos is a smart offensive coordinator. You could tell what the potential was in the two drives. The 90-yard touchdown drive, which was actually way more than 90 yards because they had about 4 penalties and I think a sack in there. And the opening drive, where he mixed things up. But it was inconsistent play calling. I say the play calling was part of the problem. So, but the biggest problem of the night, everybody thinks offensive line. Williams held on to the ball too long. Yeah, there was a couple times he did. He probably should have threw it away. But what do you expect from a first-year starter? This is the one thing that I'm mad at Mark Richt about. Not mad that he retired. Not mad that he wouldn't fire his son as offensive coordinator. I'm mad because you didn't let Williams start a couple games, 2 or 3 games last year. What in the hell did you have to lose? Seeing Perry and Rozier were downright dreadful. Did you think it was going to get any worse? At least he would have had a little bit of experience going into this game. He could have maybe picked up on things, because you could see pretty much what Florida was going to do. They weren't hiding what they were going to do. They were just pinning their ears back and coming after him. But give him credit. He didn't get wide-eyed. He tried to maneuver. He tried to buy some time in the pocket. He just didn't throw the ball up. He didn't come close to throwing a bad pass for an interception. Like I said, dropped the ball a couple times. But hell, when you have as much pressure as he did, I'm surprised he didn't drop the ball 20 times. So, I think Williams' best friend on that team, the person he needed to rely on the most, wasn't his offensive lineman, wasn't his running backs, his receivers, his tight end. It was his offensive coordinator. He should have kept Williams, how should I put this? He should have helped Williams out with plays where he could have got rid of the ball quick. Plays where, take advantage of Florida just coming all out at you. You know, when a team blitzes, there's times you can burn them. And what the most disappointing thing in the end of the game, the last play, back in a shotgun, like I said, which takes too long to me. I'm not a huge fan of the shotgun. I've always, because I was brought up with a guy under center, dropping back or taking a couple quick steps back and firing it across the middle. That's what I was brought up to. The shotgun, see what happened? Bad snap. He had to gather the ball in. By the time he does that, boom, down on the ground. I would have put him under center, couple quick steps backwards, and lobbed it to the corner of the end zone. At least go. If the guy doesn't catch it, at least you took a shot. You didn't even have that opportunity. I've heard some people on here today say that are so-called Miami experts because they have maybe 5 or 10,000 subscribers. One guy says, "Oh, penalties, I don't want to use them as an excuse. Well, it's not an excuse. It's a fact. When you have 14 penalties and you don't think that's a problem, it's not an excuse. It's a problem. And a problem is facts based. I'll give you a perfect example. When Miami ripped off that 50-yard plus run, I think by Cam Harris, they're inside the 5-yard line. At minimum, you get a field goal there. But they had not only one penalty, they had two penalties on the play. The fake field goal, once again, near the 5-yard line. You've got to give me field goal right there. An easy chip shot, like an extra point. So at the least, you left 6 points right there on the field. Then a kicker misses, what is virtually not much farther than an extra point. That's your only job, dude. So there's 9 points left on the field. Now remember, they only lost by 4. Then they get an interception. Well, they got the ball around 24, 25-yard line of Florida. You have an opportunity to go ahead. What do they, before they even take possession? Unsportsmanlike conduct. Then I believe they get caught in a chop block. So, on the play for the fake field goal, a penalty. On their first offensive play when they took the ball over, another penalty. So, within a matter of seconds, they're backed up 30 yards. Then they get sacked. Now they go from Florida's 25 to inside their 40 in a relatively short time. If it wasn't for a couple interference calls, they never would have gotten back into they would have never got back into Florida territory. So to sit there and say that penalties didn't make a difference, they did. And if our inept kicker would have made a simple field goal, Miami was already in field goal position by the 2 penalties that they got on pass interference. It would have been, if they gained no more yards, a 40 to 43-yard field goal. If you make that, you win the football game. Because let's say that was your last play. You're down 24, 25 seconds. You kick the field goal. The odds of Florida coming back and kicking a field goal to go ahead are slim to none. So, I mean, we can go on and on how you played a team that in all rights you should have beaten. And any Miami fan who says Jared Williams was the cause of them losing, you're out of your damn mind. That kid performed admirably. Screwed that word up. He performed really great under the pressure that he was getting. So it's kind of like, I talked to a couple guys who, cover Miami. They have small YouTube followings, a couple thousand fans, 2,000-3,000 fans who subscribe to them, and told them, and the same thing I'm going to tell you, this is like a bad dream that you're waking up from, that you've been in for the last 15 to 17 years. I think the last good season we had was 2003. It's over the last 8 or 10 years, we've been one of the worst teams in the country at committing penalties. That is 100% on the coaching staff right there. We, over the last 2 or 3 years, have taken the ball away in bunches. Last year, the defense held up their end. was, I believe, number 1 or 2 for tackles for losses. Up there, right in the top 10 for takeaways. It's discouraging to a defense when you take the ball away 3 or 4 times like they did last night, and you get nothing out of it. What's going to happen, I believe, is you're going to see a defense that gets frustrated if this continues on, and they're going to start to give up. Not because they want to, because it's just going to be a mindset they have. No matter what we do, the offense just will not help us. And they gave them plenty of opportunities. I was shocked, though, at Jeff Thomas, who is a very, very reliable player, all-around player, punt returner, receiver, that he muffed a punt that gave him the go-ahead touchdown. No, that wasn't the go-ahead touchdown, excuse me. He muffs a punt, and then though I know it would have been a tough catch, he had to dive for it. He had both hands on the ball there that Williams threw. You have to make that catch. If you want to be that guy, if you want to be that Michael Irvin type of player, you want to be that Santana Moss, you want to be that Reggie Wayne, Jeremy Shockey type of guy, you have to make that catch. If you got both hands on it, you got to bring it in. So, like I said, it's like a bad dream that will not end. Last night was so discouraging. If both teams had played a clean game and Florida wins 24-20, I say, you know what? It's just the way it is. But knowing that you took the ball away 4 times, knowing that you had 14 penalties and 10 sacks is disheartening. And that you really made no adjustments to help your quarterback out. It's absolutely ridiculous. That didn't look like the new Miami. That looked like the same Miami we've been watching for the last several years. Other than the mirage of a couple years ago where we thought we were one of the top 5 teams in the country, which turned out it wasn't. It's the same old thing. Mistakes, shooting yourself in the foot, tripping over your own feet. You can't even get out of your own way. It's ridiculous. And I know I'm a fan. I don't know what these players go through. I have no idea what they go through. But I know the guys who coach them are supposed to be their biggest support staff. They're the ones who are supposed to get them prepared for a game. And 14 penalties, not doing anything with the turnovers, allowing your quarterback to literally get beaten up like he was won a 10-round fight with Muhammad Ali. It's just bad. And then on top of it, add in something I haven't seen from a Miami team in several years, just really bad tackling. The first touchdown drive, bad tackling. I think we counted 5 missed tackles, which should have been about a 15 or 20-yard pass turns into a 60-yard touchdown. It's just, you guys have got such an easy schedule and such an easy path to the Coastal. But if you play like you've been playing, if you play like you did last night, you're going to take a very easy schedule and turn it into a difficult schedule. It's just, I don't know. I guess Miami fans, and I'm one of them, we're spoiled. We're used to either playing for national championships or not playing for nothing at all. Like Lamar Thomas said, finishing second means nothing. You know what second place is? The first loser. That means nothing. You're not even finishing in second place the majority of the time. I mean, losing last year to Duke, Virginia, you have more talent than they do. It's utterly ridiculous. If you lose to Virginia at home this year, you don't deserve to go anywhere. You're a better team than Virginia is. If you lose to Duke, you have no business going to the Coastal Championship game because you are far so much superior to these teams talent wise. And then you wonder why two guys transfer. You bring in Tate Martell for some gimmick plays, and you have Pope and Wiggins on the sideline. Two true wide receivers who were supposed to be, part of our really deep athletic wide receiver core. But you run a couple gimmick plays with Martell. I don't understand this. I'm glad he didn't quit and just leave the team. But you need the best players on the field at all times. And I'm sorry, Martell versus Pope and Wiggins at the wide receiver slot, there's no comparison. They're true wide receivers. He's learning the position. Now, if he comes along and he contributes, that's great. That's all the better. That's more people. But I just, like I said, I can't figure the bonehead mistakes that this team keeps making and making and making. You have to, lock down South Florida. Get kids to come here and stop losing to other teams. You have to do a better job prepping these kids. They need to be as about mistake-free on the field as they possibly can. Now, mistakes are going to happen, but not like they should have happened like they did last night. That was ridiculous. So, here we are, first game of the season, and it looked like flashes of a newer Miami, but in the end, it was the same old Miami. Give me that shotgun so I can blow my foot off. It's just, I really have no more words for it. It's ridiculous. Well, North Carolina, it's not a gimme game. It's at North Carolina. I mean, anything could happen. Matt Brown's a decent coach, so who knows? It wouldn't surprise me if we started 0-2. And please don't call me a bandwagon fan. I've been a fan for over 30 years. Going close to 40 years. So it's just, you've got to be a better team than what you are. You have the talent to be successful. Not talent to challenge Clemson right now. But that takes steps. And you need to get better. And you need to win games that are right there for the taking. When you're down, when you get punched, it's when you get back up and deliver another, give that team the same punch back. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for, when you get knocked down, get back up again. So we'll see what happens next week. Hit the subscribe button if you want to. If you don't, you don't. I would like you to, but let's hope we have a better game next week. Well, excuse me, in 2 weeks. Adios, Canes fans.